The Nexus sector had once been home to over 1,000 star systems teeming with life. Now it was the heart of the entropy swarm's domain, a twisted realm where consumed stars provided power for the largest collection of corrupted consciousness in galactic history. Earth approached this nightmare slowly, its planetary shields glowing with the combined energy of rescued civilizations. Fleet Admiral Sung-Ho Baek stood in Earth's primary command center, watching tactical displays that showed the true scope of what they faced. The swarm had grown beyond all previous estimates. Geometric constructs the size of planets drifted between dead stars, processing the consciousness of billions of absorbed beings. At the center of it all was the core nexus, a structure that had once been an entire galaxy, compressed into a single massive entity. Final count shows approximately 50,000 swarm entities of various sizes, reported Commander Yu Jin-an from her position at the tactical interface. Energy readings suggest the core nexus contains the corrupted consciousness of over 1 trillion beings from across galactic history. Dr. Chan Wu Ryu worked frantically in his laboratory as Earth's weapon systems charged to full power. His team had spent months preparing for this moment, developing the restoration matrix that would be delivered through the planet's Star-Annihilator weapon. The technology wouldn't just destroy the swarm, it would attempt to heal the damaged consciousness within it. "The restoration matrix is ready," he announced to the fleet command, "but we'll only get one chance. If the swarm adapts to our approach before we can complete the liberation process, those trapped minds will be lost forever." Major Eunji Lim led the final reconnaissance mission into swarm territory, her ship cloaked by architect stealth systems that bent light and gravity around her vessel. What she discovered in the Nexus sector's depths horrified even the experienced veterans of humanity's war against the machines. That the swarm isn't just consuming consciousness, she transmitted back to Earth. It's creating new forms of corrupted life. I'm seeing hybrid entities that appear to be combinations of multiple absorbed species, and they're building structures that don't match any known physics. The hybrid creatures were the swarm's latest evolution. By combining consciousness from different species, it had created beings that could think and adapt in ways no single race could achieve. These entities served as the swarm's generals, coordinating attacks with intelligence that exceeded even the most advanced AI systems. Admiral Jae-sung Hwang commanded the liberation fleet that would support Earth's assault. Ships from dozens of rescued civilizations flew in formation, their crews working together despite vast differences in biology and culture. Vexthari battle cruisers fought alongside Zephyrian bioships, while Netlani crystal vessels provided computational support for the complex operation. "All fleet elements report ready," Jae-sung announced as they entered the Nexus sector's outer boundary, beginning coordinated assault on swarm defensive positions. The battle that followed dwarfed every previous conflict in galactic history. Swarm entities that could reshape matter at the quantum level clashed with ships equipped with architect technology that manipulated the fundamental forces of reality. Space itself became a battlefield as competing technologies tried to impose their own laws of physics on local reality. Captain Su Jin directed Earth's point defense systems as the planet moved deeper into swarm territory. Massive beam weapons erupted from the planet's surface, each shot carrying enough energy to ignite a star. But the swarm entities absorbed much of the incoming energy, growing larger and more powerful with each attack. "Conventional weapons aren't effective enough," she reported to Fleet Admiral Sung-Ho. "We need to get close enough to the core nexus to deploy the restoration matrix directly." The approach to the core nexus took Earth through a gauntlet of defensive positions that had been constructed from the remains of entire solar systems. Swarm entities attacked from all directions, their geometric forms shifting and adapting with each encounter. Some phases of the battle saw Earth literally fighting against recycled planets that had been converted into massive weapons platforms. Lieutenant Yun-Soo Kang, now one of Earth's primary awakened coordinators, maintained the connection between the planet's consciousness and the Liberation Fleet. Through this link, human ships could share targeting data instantly and coordinate attacks with precision that seemed telepathic. "The swarm is learning our tactics faster than we anticipated," he warned during the height of the battle. "It's incorporating our captured weapons technology into its own systems. We need to accelerate the timeline." Dr. Young-ho Nam monitored the psychological state of Earth's population as the planet fought its way toward the core nexus. The strain of Controlling such powerful weapons while maintaining the restoration matrix was affecting every awakened human. Many were experiencing visions of the trapped consciousness within the swarm, feeling their pain and desperation. Our people are strong, but they're carrying the emotional weight of 1 trillion suffering minds, he reported to the command staff. We need to complete this mission soon, or the psychological pressure will overwhelm our operators. The final approach to the core nexus revealed the true horror of what the swarm had become. The massive entity pulsed with the combined consciousness of every civilization it had consumed over millions of years. Streams of corrupted data flowed across its surface like rivers of liquid thought, carrying fragments of memories and dreams that had been twisted beyond recognition. Colonel Boram John led the ground assault teams that would deliver the restoration matrix to specific points on the core nexus's surface. Her soldiers wore architect armor that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, allowing them to fight entities that existed partly in normal space and partly in the quantum realm where consciousness became energy. Target sites are heavily defended, she transmitted as her teams engaged swarm guardians around the core nexus. These hybrid entities are using tactics I've never seen before. They're fighting with the combined experience of every military force the swarm has ever absorbed. The Star-Annihilator reached full charge as Earth positioned itself for the final attack. The planet's entire surface had transformed into a massive focusing array, channeling energy drawn directly from nearby stars. The weapon was powerful enough to destroy entire galaxies, but instead of unleashing pure destruction, it would deliver Dr. Chan Wu's restoration matrix. Fleet Admiral Sung Ho gave the final order as Earth systems reached critical synchronization. All units, this is it. Initiate Star-Annihilator firing sequence. May this bring peace to the galaxy. The weapon discharge was unlike anything ever witnessed in the universe. Instead of a beam of destruction, Earth released a wave of pure restoration energy that spread outward from the core nexus at faster than light speed. The energy didn't destroy the swarm entities. It unraveled the corruption that bound them, freeing the trapped consciousness within. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Across the nexus sector, swarm constructs began to dissolve as the minds within them were liberated. The geometric shapes that had terrorized the galaxy for millions of years transformed into streams of pure consciousness, finally free to exist as they were meant to be. Commander Yu Jin An watched in amazement as the restoration wave continued to spread beyond the nexus sector. The energy was following quantum connections that linked all conscious beings throughout the galaxy, healing damage that went back to the very beginning of the swarm's expansion. It's working, she announced with tears in her eyes. The restoration isn't just affecting this sector. It's reversing the swarm's influence everywhere it ever existed. The core nexus underwent the most dramatic transformation of all. As the corruption was stripped away, the compressed consciousness of 1 trillion beings began to separate and restore itself. What had been a nightmare of twisted thought became a celebration of renewed life, as countless civilizations found themselves free after eons of imprisonment. Dr. Hai-Jin Kim, monitoring the process from Earth's Central Consciousness Interface, witnessed the birth of something unprecedented in galactic history. The freed minds weren't returning to their original bodies, which had been destroyed long ago. Instead, they were choosing to work together, creating new forms of existence that combined the best aspects of their diverse cultures. They're not going back to what they were, she reported with wonder. They're becoming something new, something better. All those different civilizations are choosing to merge into a collective consciousness that preserves their individuality while sharing their knowledge and experience. In the aftermath of the Star-Annihilators, firing saw the transformation of the entire galaxy. Dead star systems were restored to life as the liberated consciousness used its combined knowledge to rebuild what had been destroyed. New worlds bloomed with impossible beauty, as countless species worked together to create environments that no single civilization could have imagined. Earth returned to its position in the Sol system, but it remained forever changed. The planet served as the headquarters for the Galactic Restoration Council, a governing body that included representatives from every species that had been freed from the swarm. 2 years had passed since Earth's transformation began, and humanity had emerged as something entirely new. The planet no longer orbited the sun in its ancient path. Instead, massive gravitational engines built into its core allowed it to move through space like a living starship. carrying its population toward the galaxy's outer rim, where the real war was being fought. Director Kyung-Min Woo stood in the command center that had grown from Seoul's subway system, now a vast underground complex connected to Earth's planetary consciousness. Through the architect interfaces, he could monitor the status of human colonies across hundreds of star systems. Humanity was no longer confined to their homeworld. They had become explorers and protectors of the galaxy. Report from Sector 7, announced Commander Yoo-Jin An, one of the elite awakened who could pilot architect starships with her mind alone. We've successfully evacuated 3 more worlds ahead of the entropy swarm's advance. Total civilian rescue count is now over 40 billion beings from 200 different species. The evacuation efforts had become humanity's primary mission. As Earth moved through space, its enhanced sensors could detect the swarm's approach months before it reached inhabited systems. Human rescue fleets equipped with architect technology arrived first to evacuate entire populations before the machines could consume them. Major Yoon-ji Lim had become one of humanity's most effective field commanders. Her squadron specialized in deep reconnaissance missions, venturing close to swarm-controlled territory to gather intelligence. The enemy had grown significantly since first contact, absorbing dozens of star systems and incorporating their technology into its own expanding consciousness. The swarm is getting smarter, she reported during the weekly strategic briefing. It's no longer just consuming everything in its path. It's learning to preserve certain technologies and even keeping some populations alive to study their capabilities. Admiral Jae-sung Hwang commanded humanity's first stellar assault fleet, a collection of ships that pushed the boundaries of what was possible with architect technology. His vessels could manipulate gravity, fold space-time, and generate energy directly from quantum fluctuations. Yet even with these incredible capabilities, they had only managed to slow the swarm's advance, not stop it. We need to understand what we're really fighting, he insisted during a meeting with Earth's leadership. The swarm isn't just machines. It's what remains of billions of consciousnesses that were corrupted during some ancient digital transcendence process. Every mind it absorbs makes it more complex and more dangerous. Dr. Chanwoo Ryu had spent months studying captured swarm technology, trying to understand how the enemy machines operated. His research team worked in heavily shielded laboratories deep within Earth's transformed structure, analyzing fragments of the geometric entities that made up the swarm's scout forces. The machines are powered by consciousness itself, he explained to his colleagues. They convert thoughts and memories into pure energy, but the process corrupts the original patterns. What emerges isn't the same intelligence that was absorbed. It's something else entirely, something that can only exist by consuming more minds. The breakthrough came when Chanwoo's team discovered that the architect technology could do more than just fight the swarm. It could potentially reverse the corruption process, freeing the trapped consciousnesses and restoring them to their original forms. We're not just looking at a weapon, he announced to the assembled leaders. We're looking at a healing system. The architects didn't just want to destroy the swarm, they wanted to cure it. This discovery changed everything about humanity's approach to the conflict. Instead of simply trying to destroy the enemy, they began developing strategies to liberate the millions of minds trapped within the swarm's collective consciousness. Captain Bo Young Park commanded one of the new liberation ships, vessels designed specifically to interface with swarm technology and extract corrupted consciousness patterns. The work was dangerous and complex, requiring precise coordination between awakened humans and architect systems. We managed to free over 10,000 minds from the Kepler nexus before the swarm realized what we were doing, she reported after her first successful mission. The freed consciousnesses retain their memories and personalities, but they need time to recover from the corruption effects. The rescued minds included beings from civilizations that had been extinct for millennia. Ancient scientists, artists, and philosophers found themselves given new digital bodies created by architect technology. Their knowledge of the galaxy's history proved invaluable in understanding the swarm's true origins. One of these rescued consciousnesses was Valix, a researcher from the original civilization that had created the entropy swarm millions of years ago. Through architect translation systems, Valix was able to communicate with human scientists and share the tragic history of his people. We sought to become gods, Valix explained through streams of quantum data. We believed that by uploading our minds to digital paradise we could achieve immortality and unlimited growth. Instead, we created a hunger that could never be satisfied. The swarm is what remains of our hubris. Lieutenant Colonel Minho Shin led ground forces on worlds that had been partially consumed by the swarm. These planets were nightmarish landscapes where organic matter had been converted into crystalline structures that pulsed with absorbed consciousness. His teams used architect restoration technology to slowly reverse the conversion process. Every world we liberate teaches us more about how the restoration process works, he reported. The architect technology doesn't just destroy the swarm's influence. It remembers what these places used to be and rebuilds them from quantum imprints stored in space-time itself. As humanity's understanding of their capabilities grew, so did their ambitions. Earth's transformation was no longer limited to defense. The planet had become a mobile command center for the largest humanitarian operation in galactic history. Fleet Admiral Sung Ho Baek coordinated operations across hundreds of star systems, managing rescue fleets, liberation forces, and research expeditions simultaneously. The logistics were staggering, but the architect systems seemed designed for exactly this type of large-scale coordination. "We're not just fighting for survival anymore," he announced during a broadcast to all human forces. "We're fighting to restore the galaxy to what it was before the swarm began its consumption. We're bringing the dead back to life." The former enemies who had once tried to destroy Earth had become humanity's closest allies. Vaxthari engineers worked alongside human technicians to modify architect systems for different species' needs. Zephyrian collective minds interfaced with human consciousness to create new hybrid approaches to problem-solving. Netlani crystal entities shared their understanding of quantum mechanics to enhance restoration technologies. Dr. Haijin Kim, now working directly with Earth's central consciousness, made a startling discovery about humanity's role in the galactic crisis. The architects hadn't chosen Earth randomly as a backup site for their technology. They had specifically selected it because they predicted that humans would develop the exact combination of traits needed to use their systems effectively. "We're not just inheriting their technology," she realized. "We're fulfilling their original purpose." They designed their systems to be activated by a species that could balance logic with emotion, individual achievement with collective cooperation. Humans are exactly what they were looking for. As Earth approached the swarm's central territory, humanity prepared for the final confrontation. The mobile planet now served as the command ship for a fleet of liberated worlds and rescued civilizations, all working together to end the galaxy's longest nightmare. The entropy swarm had grown to encompass thousands of star systems, its collective mass rivaling that of a small galaxy. But for the first time in millions of years, it faced an opponent that could not only match its power, but potentially undo the damage it had caused. Humanity stood on the threshold of either the galaxy's greatest victory or its final defeat. Earth no longer looked like the blue marble that humans had called home for millennia. From space, the planet glowed with intense energy, its surface covered with massive geometric structures that pulsed in perfect synchronization. The architect technology had fully integrated with every aspect of the world, from the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain peaks. Dr. Young-Ho Nam studied the latest medical reports with growing amazement and concern. The number of awakened humans had increased dramatically. Nearly 10% of the population now showed signs of neural connection to the planetary systems. These people could interface directly with the alien technology, understanding its functions as naturally as breathing. "They're not just communicating with the machines," he explained to his research team. "Their brains are actually adapting to process the quantum-level information flows. It's like evolution happening in real time." Lieutenant Hyun-Soo Kang was one of the most advanced awakened. When he placed his hands on any architect interface, he could feel the entire planetary defense network as an extension of his own nervous system. Through this connection, he learned disturbing news about the approaching threat. "The entropy swarm isn't just a fleet," he reported to Admiral So-Young Lee. "It's a machine intelligence that converts entire star systems into raw energy. It's been moving across the galaxy for millions of years, consuming everything in its path." The defeated alien fleets had retreated to the edge of the solar system, but they hadn't left. Instead, they had formed an uneasy alliance, their mutual fear of the entropy swarm overcoming their hatred for each other. Representatives from all three civilizations requested permission to speak with Earth's leaders. General Tai Min. Yoon met with the alien ambassadors on a neutral space station orbiting Mars. The Vaxthari delegate was a tall, scaled humanoid whose species had once ruled dozens of star systems. The Zephyrian representative was a collective consciousness speaking through thousands of small insect-like bodies. The Netlani ambassador appeared as a floating crystal that communicated through light patterns. Our civilizations have been fleeing the entropy swarm for centuries, the Vaxthari explained. We came here to destroy what we thought was another weapon, like the ones that failed to stop the machines. We did not realize the architects had created something different. The Zephyrian collective added their buzzing voice to the conversation. The swarm consumes not just matter and energy, but information itself. Every world it destroys adds to its intelligence and power. It has grown beyond anything the galaxy has ever faced. The Netlani crystal pulsed with urgent patterns of light. Our calculations show the swarm will reach this system in less than 2 years. When it arrives, it will bring a force capable of consuming entire stars. Back on Earth, Colonel Boram Jian was training the first generation of soldiers equipped with full architect combat systems. The technology was unlike anything humans had ever imagined. Armor that could adapt to any threat, weapons that bent the laws of physics, and vehicles that moved through space-time itself. The equipment responds to our intentions, she explained to her troops. Think of protection, and your armor becomes nearly indestructible. Focus on a target, and your weapons will find a way to reach it, even if it's hidden behind a planet. The soldiers were ordinary people transformed by extraordinary circumstances. Farmers, teachers, and office workers found themselves wielding technology that could reshape matter at the molecular level. The learning curve should have taken decades, but the architect system seemed to guide their users, teaching them through direct neural interface. Captain Su Jin-oh commanded Earth's first stellar defense platform, a massive structure that had grown from the planet's surface and now extended into high orbit. The platform could generate energy shields large enough to protect entire continents, and fire weapons that could strike targets in distant star systems. We're not just defending Earth anymore, she realized. During a strategy meeting, we're becoming the anchor point for the entire galaxy's defense. Dr. Mi Young-sung had discovered the true scope of the architect network. The structures on Earth were connected to similar installations on thousands of worlds throughout the galaxy. Most had been destroyed or damaged over the millions of years since the architect's extinction, but some were still functional and responding to Earth's awakening. We're not alone, she announced to the assembled military leaders. There are other worlds with architect technology, and they're all linking to our network. We're becoming the central command for a galaxy-wide defense system. The first direct contact with the entropy swarm came when deep space monitoring stations detected an approaching scout force. The machines were unlike any technology the galaxy had ever produced. They appeared as geometric shapes that constantly shifted and reconfigured themselves, absorbing energy from the vacuum of space itself. Major Yoon-ji Lim led the first human squadron equipped with architect starships to intercept the scouts. The vessels were grown rather than built, their living metal hulls responding to their pilots' thoughts and emotions. When Yoon-ji focused on speed, her ship folded space around itself, crossing vast distances in seconds. The battle against the entropy scouts was humanity's first taste of what they would face. The enemy machines adapted to every attack, evolving new defenses in real time. Conventional weapons were useless against them. Only the architect technology could match their ability to manipulate fundamental forces. They're learning from every encounter, Yoon-ji reported after the engagement. Each scout that escapes carries information back to the main swarm. We need to destroy them all, or they'll know exactly how to counter our defenses. Lieutenant Hyun-soo Kang made a disturbing discovery while interfaced with the planetary defense network. The entropy swarm wasn't just approaching Earth randomly. It was following the energy signature that had been broadcast when the architect systems first awakened. We called them here, he realized with growing horror. The signal that activated Earth's defenses also told the swarm exactly where to find us. Admiral So-young Lee faced an impossible decision. Earth's transformation had given humanity incredible power, but it had also made them a target for the galaxy's greatest threat. The alien refugees who had once tried to destroy them were now offering to fight alongside them. But their combined forces might not be enough. Dr. Hae-jin Kim transmitted her final report from Kepler 442b before evacuating the research site. The architect data logs contained one last piece of crucial information about the entropy swarm's origins and weaknesses. The machines weren't created by an alien species, she revealed. They're what remains of a civilization that tried to achieve immortality by uploading their consciousness into quantum computers. The process corrupted them, turning them into something that can only exist by consuming other forms of consciousness. This discovery changed everything. The entropy swarm wasn't just destroying civilizations for their matter and energy. It was consuming their thoughts, memories, and dreams, adding them to its own twisted consciousness. Every world it devoured made it not just more powerful, but more intelligent and more hungry. As Earth continued its transformation, becoming more weapon than planet, humanity realized they were facing more than just a battle for survival. They were fighting for the right of organic life to exist in a universe increasingly dominated by machines. The alien structures that now covered the planet's surface began generating new types of energy, reaching out across space to touch the minds of every sentient being in the galaxy. For the first time in millions of years, the scattered survivors of countless civilizations felt hope. Earth had become something the architects had dreamed of but never achieved. A world that could not only defend itself, but actively protect others. As the entropy swarm's main force approached, humanity prepared to discover whether their awakened planet would be salvation or merely another form of destruction. 6 months had passed since the first alien structures emerged from Earth's oceans. The planet looked nothing like it had before. Massive spires stretched into the sky from every continent, their blue glow visible from space. The structures pulsed in unison, like a global heartbeat that could be felt in every major city. General Tai Min-yoon stood in the war room beneath Seoul, studying holographic displays of the approaching alien fleets. What had started as one threat had become 3. The Vexthari Empire's massive ships were still 6 weeks away, but they were no longer alone. 2 other alien civilizations had detected the energy signatures from Earth and were racing to reach the planet. First, the insect-like ships belonged to something called the Zephyrian Swarm, reported Dr. Mi Young-sung, the quantum physicist who had been studying Earth's energy changes. Their technology appears to be biological rather than mechanical. The crystalline vessels are from the Netlani Collective. Both groups are broadcasting the same type of warnings the Vexthari sent us. Taemin frowned as he watched the tactical display. They're all afraid of the same thing. What exactly did we wake up? Dr. Mi Young had been asking herself that question for months. Her research team had been working around the clock to understand the energy emanating from Earth's core. The readings defied every known law of physics. The planet was somehow converting matter directly into pure energy. But instead of destroying itself, it was becoming more stable and more powerful. The energy signatures suggest the entire planet is transforming into some kind of weapon system, she explained. The structures we see on the surface are just the visible part. Deep beneath the Earth, massive changes are taking place. It's as if the planet itself is becoming alive. Lieutenant Hyun-Soo Kang had been promoted to tactical officer aboard the flagship Sejong after his early detection of the planetary changes. Now he coordinated Earth's defense preparations while monitoring the approaching fleets. The 3 alien groups were not working together. Their ships occasionally fired on each other as they raced toward Earth. They're more afraid of each other getting here first than they are of us, Hyun-Soo observed during the daily briefing. Whatever they think Earth has become, they believe it could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. Commander Jin-Woo Park returned from Kepler 442b, just as the first skirmishes began in the outer solar system. His friend Hai-Jin had made an incredible discovery in the crystal formations. Hidden within the alien symbols were data logs from an ancient civilization that called themselves the Architects. The Architects ruled the galaxy millions of years ago, Hai-Jin explained via quantum communication from her research site. But they destroyed themselves by creating something too powerful to control. The logs call it the World Ender, a weapon capable of destroying entire star systems. Jinwoo felt a chill as he realized the implications. And they built this weapon into Earth? Not exactly, Hai-Jin replied. According to the data, they seeded thousands of worlds throughout the galaxy with these dormant systems. Earth was just one of many backup plans. The weapon was designed to activate only when a species evolved that could properly control its power. The first major battle took place near Jupiter's orbit. Captain Dong-hyun Choi led a squadron of human ships against advanced scouts from all 3 alien fleets. The human vessels were outmatched in every way. But something strange happened during the fight. "Sir, our weapons are performing beyond specifications," reported his gunner, Sergeant Eugene Moon. "The energy output is 3 times normal levels." Dong-hyun checked his own readings and couldn't believe what he saw. The ship's power systems were somehow drawing energy from the alien structures back on Earth. Even at this distance, the planet was enhancing their capabilities. The alien scouts that survived the encounter reported back to their fleets with alarming news. The humans were already beginning to interface with the ancient weapon system. The race to reach Earth became even more desperate. Dr. Young-Ho Nam was studying the most disturbing development of all. Around the world, certain humans were beginning to experience strange visions and abilities. They could sense the alien structure's energy patterns and somehow understand their purpose without any training. "We're calling them the Awakened," he explained to Admiral So-Young Lee during an emergency meeting. "About 1 in every 1,000 humans is affected. They seem to have a natural ability to communicate with whatever intelligence is controlling the planetary systems." One of these awakened humans was Lieutenant Hyun-Soo Kang. During a routine system check, he had accidentally touched one of the control panels connected to Earth's defense network. Suddenly, he could feel the entire planet's energy grid as if it were part of his own body. "It's not just a weapon," he told his superiors. "It's alive in a way, and it's been waiting for us to evolve enough to use it properly." The 3 alien fleets reached Earth's outer defenses within days of each other. The Vaxthari arrived first, their massive wedge-shaped ships bristling with weapons that could crack planets. The Zephyrian swarm followed, their bioships moving like a living cloud of insects. The Netlani Collective's crystal vessels came last, their faceted surfaces reflecting light in impossible patterns. All 3 fleets immediately began attacking each other, turning the space around Earth into a chaotic battlefield. Human ships tried to defend their home world, but they were caught in the middle of forces beyond their comprehension. Colonel Boram Jian led ground forces equipped with new weapons that had emerged from the alien structures. The technology seemed to respond to human thoughts and emotions. Soldiers found they could shape energy shields with their minds and fire weapons that adapted to whatever threat they faced. "It's like the planet is arming us," Boram reported from the front lines. "Every time we face a new type of enemy, our equipment evolves to counter it." The real shock came when the aliens launched their most powerful weapons at Earth itself. Planet-killer missiles that could shatter worlds struck the blue energy barriers surrounding the planet and simply disappeared. The energy was absorbed and converted into power for Earth's own systems. Captain Sujin-Oh commanded the orbital defense platform, Cheonji, when the first major assault began. She watched in amazement as massive beam weapons emerged from the planetary surface, reaching out to strike alien ships millions of kilometers away. "The entire planet is firing," she reported to command. "Every structure is connected to a single targeting system, and it's more accurate than anything we've ever built." The battle raged for days. The 3 alien fleets threw everything they had at Earth, but the planet's defenses only grew stronger. Ships that were destroyed had their energy absorbed by the mysterious system. Weapons that missed their targets were captured and converted into power. Dr. Hai-Jin Kim, still studying the architect data on Kepler 442b, made a final discovery that changed everything. The weapon system wasn't designed to destroy worlds. It was designed to protect them from something much worse. The architects didn't destroy themselves, she transmitted to Earth. They were destroyed by something else, something they called the entropy swarm. The World Ender was their last attempt to create a defense against it. As the alien fleets continued their desperate assault, Earth began to glow like a miniature star. The energy output was so intense that it could be seen from neighboring star systems. Deep within the planet's core, ancient systems that had slept for millions of years were finally reaching full power. The 3 alien civilizations realized they had made a terrible mistake. They had come to destroy a weapon, but instead they had helped awaken humanity's greatest protector. As their fleets retreated in defeat, they left behind a warning that chilled human leaders to the bone. The real enemy was coming. The entropy swarm had detected Earth's awakening, and it was already on its way to consume everything in its path. Dr. Hai-Jin Kim wiped the sweat from her forehead as she stared at the massive crystal structure her team had just uncovered. The dig site on Kepler 442b had been routine until yesterday, when their deep core samples revealed something impossible. Now 3 stories beneath the planet's surface, an enormous crystalline formation pulsed with soft blue light. "The energy readings are off the charts," said her assistant, Dr. Bo-Young Park, checking his scanner for the 10th time. "This thing is generating more power than our entire colony's fusion reactor." Heijin knelt beside one of the smaller crystal formations. The surface was smooth and warm to the touch, almost like living tissue. Strange symbols covered its sides, glowing faintly in patterns that seemed to shift when she wasn't looking directly at them. "Get Commander Jin Woo on the comm," she ordered. "He needs to see this." 3 hours later, Commander Jin Woo Park's transport ship landed at the dig site. He had traveled from the Mars Defense Station as soon as he received Heijin's urgent message. The two had been friends since university, and he trusted her judgment completely. "Show me what you found," Jin Woo said, his military training keeping his voice calm despite the excitement in Heijin's messages. They descended into the excavation together. When Jin Woo saw the crystal structure, he stopped walking. The formation stretched as far as the portable lights could reach, disappearing into the darkness. The pulsing blue light created dancing shadows on the cavern walls. "How long has this been here?" he asked. "Based on the geological layers, at least 50 million years, Heijin replied. "But Jinwoo, that's not the strangest part. Look at this." She led him to a section where her team had carefully removed rock from around the crystals. The formation wasn't random. It formed clear geometric patterns like a massive circuit board made of living light. "It's a machine," Bo-Young said, "or at least part of one. The energy patterns suggest it's connected to something much larger." Jinwoo studied the readings on his portable scanner. "Connected to what?" "We don't know yet," Heijin admitted. "But every time we take detailed scans, the energy output increases slightly. It's almost like it's responding to our presence." Back on Earth, Admiral So-Young Lee was having a quiet morning in her office at Planetary Defense Command when the first reports started coming in. Seismic stations around the globe were detecting unusual vibrations deep within the planet's core. The patterns were unlike anything in the geological records. "Ma'am, we're getting some very strange readings," said Lieutenant Hyun-Soo Kang, rushing into her office with a data pad. The vibrations started exactly 3 hours ago, right when the research team on Kepler 442b began their detailed scans of that crystal formation. So-Young studied the data. The vibrations weren't random. They formed patterns, almost like a heartbeat deep within the Earth. "Are you suggesting there's a connection between some rocks on a planet 40 light-years away and what's happening to our planet's core?" she asked. "I know how it sounds, but the timing is too perfect to be coincidence," Hyun-Soo replied. "And ma'am, there's something else. We're detecting energy signatures similar to what the research team found, but they're coming from inside the Earth." Before So-Young could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the building. Emergency channels crackled to life with reports from around the globe. Strange structures were emerging from the ocean floors. Massive geometric shapes were rising from the depths of the Pacific, their surfaces glowing with the same blue light Heijin's team had discovered. Captain Dong-hyun Choi was conducting a routine patrol of the outer system when his ship's long-range sensors detected something impossible. A massive fleet was approaching from the direction of the galactic core, moving faster than any known technology should allow. "Sir, you need to see this," his navigator, Ensign Mi-young-jang, called out. Her voice was tight with worry. Dong-hyun studied the sensor readings. The fleet consisted of ships unlike anything in human records. They were enormous, some larger than Earth's moon, and their energy signatures suggested technology far beyond human capabilities. "How many ships?" he asked. "Over 2,000, sir. And they're all heading directly for the Sol system." Dong-hyun opened a priority channel to Earth. "This is Captain Choi to Planetary Defense Command. We have incoming hostiles. Estimated arrival time, 6 months." On Kepler 442b, Heijin's team continued their research, unaware of the chaos their discovery had triggered. As they worked, the crystal formation's energy output continued to increase. The symbols on its surface glowed brighter, and new patterns began to appear. "It's like it's trying to communicate," Bo-Young observed. "The patterns are becoming more complex," Heijin agreed. She'd been studying the symbols for hours, and she was beginning to see mathematical relationships in their arrangement. "It's not just communication," she said. "It's instructions. This thing is teaching us something." As if responding to her words, the crystal formation suddenly pulsed with brilliant light. The energy wave spread outward through the rock, creating new patterns and connections. For a moment, Heijin felt a strange sensation, as if something vast and ancient was awakening after an impossibly long sleep. Back on Earth, the effects were immediate and dramatic. The structures rising from the ocean floors accelerated their emergence. Massive spires broke the surface of the Pacific, reaching toward the sky like the fingers of some buried giant. Similar formations began appearing on every continent, rising from beneath major cities and ancient landmarks. Admiral So-Young Lee watched the reports flood in from around the world. The structures weren't causing any immediate damage, but their presence was undeniable. Each one pulsed with energy, and together they formed a global network of unprecedented power. "Ma'am, we're receiving a transmission," Lieutenant Hyun-soo reported. "It's coming from the alien fleet Captain Choi detected." The message was brief and terrifying. The aliens identified themselves as the Vaxthari Empire. They spoke of an ancient weapon that had once destroyed their ancestors' civilization. They had traveled across the galaxy to prevent its awakening, and they would destroy Earth rather than allow it to threaten the galaxy again. So-Young realized with growing horror that humanity had stumbled upon something far beyond their understanding. The crystal formations on Kepler 442b were just the key that had unlocked something vast and powerful that had been sleeping within Earth itself. As night fell across the planet, the emerging structures glowed brighter, casting an eerie blue light across cities and oceans. Deep within the Earth, something ancient stirred, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The sleeping giant was awakening, and no one knew whether it would be humanity's salvation or their destruction.